Hey friends, I hope you are all having a wonderful day. It is so good to be back with you guys doing a second video. But before we get started with today's video, I want to make sure I say a huge thank you to those who took the time to watch, share, like my first vlog. It means the world to me. So thank you so much. Those of you who gave me feedback on it, those who viewed it. If you haven't seen it yet, I encourage you to go check it out. It's called Do You Know? I am super excited for today's video because today you will be getting to know me a little bit better. Today I am going to be sharing with you my testimony. If you don't know what a testimony is pretty much the story of how someone came to know Jesus. So today I will be sharing with you how I became a Christian and my journey with Jesus, which is going to include the good, the bad, and the ugly. Typically, when someone is sharing their testimony, they talk about what their life looks like before Christ, what their life looked like that moment they surrendered their life to Jesus, and then what their life looked like after and as they continue to follow Jesus. So that is what I'm going to be sharing with you today. Before I begin sharing my story with you today, I want you to know that everybody's testimony is going to look different. When I was back in high school, I remember thinking, how is God going to use me? My testimony is so boring. How in the world is he going to use my life to impact somebody else? And let me tell you, looking back now, it is just crazy to see how God proved me wrong. In Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11, Jesus tells us, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." I think this is such a great truth to hold on to. It is incredible to see what God can do when a person surrenders their life to Jesus and his plans for their life. So I just want to encourage you, if you feel like your story isn't important, if you feel like it's worthless, God can't use you, that is simply not the case. Hold on to that promise in Jeremiah 29:11. God has good plans for your life, even though at times it may not feel like it. So with that being said, I am now going to share with you the story of how Jesus radically changed my life. Today's video, not gonna lie, it is going to be real and raw. Everything that you hear today is going to be the truth. I haven't added to my story, I haven't taken anything out of my story, and to some of you watching, some of the things that you hear me share today, it's gonna be shocking. And to some of you, it might even be uncomfortable. But I pray and I trust that God will use my story to impact those who hear it. So here we go, the story of how Jesus changed my life. I was very blessed to be raised in a Christian home by two godly parents who love and serve the Lord. My grandpa was a pastor, so growing up, every Sunday we would go to church, we would go to Sunday school. I was very active on Wednesday nights in youth group. In the summer, vacation Bible school and church camp would be a normal thing that my family did. So we did all of those churchy things. But I wouldn't say that I had my own personal relationship with Jesus until middle school. During middle school, I remember going to a fall party that my youth group was having, and that evening, one of my youth group leaders was sharing a part of her testimony. While she was sharing, she asked us a very important question. That question was, do you know where you are going to go when you die? I remember sitting there around the campfire really pondering that question. I knew my mom had always told me that I had accepted Christ at a young age, but that night there was just a part of me that was unsettled. I wasn't sure. That moment I knew that I wanted to be confident in the fact that I'd spend eternity in heaven with Jesus. So that night I rededicated my life to Christ. After that night, I had a new passion inside of me. I remember wanting to tell everyone that I knew about Jesus. My prayer life started improving more. I even saw God answering more of my prayers. I was in the Word more. It was something that I actually wanted to do instead of it feeling like a chore. After that night, my relationship with Jesus actually started becoming more of my own instead of just something that my family did. As I entered high school, the fire and the passion that I had for Jesus started to die out. This wasn't because Jesus left me or stopped loving me. That wasn't the case at all. Actually, I was getting in the way of my own walk with Jesus. I started filling my life with more and more of the world and its desires and less of Jesus. The choices I was making were leading me deeper and deeper into rebellion. Some of the sin issues I was pursuing were inappropriate relationships, impure conversations with boys, lust, sexting. I was a very deceitful and disrespectful teenager to both of my parents. And as much as I was trying to hide what I was doing behind my closed bedroom door, my parents eventually found out. And more importantly, God knew everything that I was doing. Looking back on my sinful behavior at the time reminds me of a Bible verse found in the book of Numbers, chapter 32, verse 23. It says, "But if you fail to keep your word, then you will be sinning against the Lord, and you may be sure that your sin will find you out." This is exactly what was happening to me. I was trying so hard to keep hidden what I was doing, but eventually my sin found me out. The decisions that I was making was leading me deeper and deeper into sin and further away from God. I am so thankful that amidst all of the sin I was engaging in, God continued to reveal himself to me and pursue me, even though I did not deserve it at all. Throughout most of my high school years, I lived a very two-sided life. I played the church girl on Sunday mornings and at youth group on Wednesday nights, and throughout the rest of the week, I was following my sinful nature. Eventually, I ended up graduating from high school and headed off to pursue a college education. About a month into my freshman year of college, I faced the hardest thing I've ever had to face. My dad unexpectedly passed away from a heart attack. Although I was so shocked and so confused and had so many questions, I was never really angry at God because he gave my family and I so much peace. He was so faithful. God provided for us the greatest support system within our church and community. He also provided for us financially, and he continued to reveal himself through Scripture. Through all of the grief and the unknown, I knew that God had a purpose and a plan for our suffering, and I continued to trust in that. A couple of months following my dad's death, I began a serious dating relationship with a guy that I knew. It wasn't long until temptation started creeping back in, and I began following my sinful desires again. Impurity, lust, sexual sin, my whole relationship with my boyfriend replaced the spot that God had in my life. I was again living a very two-sided life. I was ignoring the Holy Spirit and going against the standard that God had set for me in His Word. Looking back on that relationship now, it is so clear for me to see that the void that I had in my heart from losing my father, I was trying to fill it with all of the wrong things. I was trying to fill it with the love that I thought a boyfriend could give me, instead of filling it with the unconditional love that Jesus has for me. I want you to know that you and we were designed to be in a relationship with Jesus. There is a spot in our hearts that only Jesus can fill, and there is nothing that will satisfy us more than being in a relationship with Him. After graduating from college, I began an internship with a ministry that travels all across the Midwest and shares the gospel in public high schools. I am so thankful for this opportunity that I have received to grow stronger in my faith. I can truly say 100% that it has changed my life. At the beginning of my internship, God revealed Himself to me in a very profound way. God showed me that I have been trying to be in control of my life for way too long. He opened my eyes to see that I have been relying more on my own strengths and my own abilities instead of relying on Him. He gave me some very specific words. He told me that I need to stop striving and just abide in Him. So since last fall, I have been going through a process of fully surrendering everything to Jesus. Let me tell you, this has been a day-by-day process, moment by moment. And what it looks like for me is just starting the day by saying, Jesus, I surrender this day to you. I surrender my abilities, my expectations, my desires, my wants, my needs, everything, Jesus. I'm going to let you have it all. I want your will to be done in my life. I surrender my perfectionism to you because I am a perfectionist. And Jesus, I want you to just be the Lord and the leader of my life. Let me tell you, it's been a challenge. It's been hard. Some days I forget, but God has really showed me that I can't do it on my own. And I've been trying to do it on my own for way too long. I need Him to be in control and be the leader of my life. If you're watching right now and you don't know if you've ever made that decision to make Jesus the leader of your life, if you're not sure if you've ever surrendered your life to His control, I would love to talk to you more about that. Please don't hesitate to contact me. I'm going to be posting my social media accounts below. So if you have any questions, if you have any prayer requests, I would really, honestly, love to hear from you. As I wrap up this video today, I want to let you know that I don't make these videos just for them to be another inspirational Emma talk. If they have been inspiring, I am so glad and would love to hear how God has used these videos to impact your life in a personal way. But the reason I shared all of this with you today, and we went through a lot of hard stuff, some really deep topics were talked about today. The reason I shared all of this was because Jesus radically transformed my life. And I know, without a doubt, 100%, He can do the same thing for you. You are loved. You have a purpose. You are so valuable. I know God has an incredible plan for your life, and I don't want you to miss out on anything that He has to offer you. I know firsthand that God can use broken people like you and me to advance His kingdom. He can use the pain and suffering. He can use the mistakes for His good. So like I said, guys, if you have any questions, comments, prayer requests, if you would simply like to share your testimony, I would love to hear from you guys. Please don't hesitate to reach out. My social media accounts are going to be posted down below. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, to share it with a friend, give it a like. I am so appreciative. God bless you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.